Hey, and good morning, everybody. It's Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We've got a special report here, guys, and just had to get this out to you. I sometimes try to be a little more professional about this than we are going to be today, but we just had to get this out. This is a special report of In God We Still Trust, and we're going to talk about what happened last night in the electora of the election in New York City, and especially what socialism really is. This is an amazing thing that happened last night. Many of you stayed up late last night to find out what happened in New York, and what do we mean by that? Well, there's an election in New York, and it was an election, a mayoral election. It wasn't a big election, but it was because New York is the biggest city in the United States, and it pitted against an avowed Democratic socialist by the name of Zoran Mamdani, and then Andrew Cuomo, and then Curtis Sliwa. They were all in the race. And yeah, I know some of you are going, well, what do you mean by Democrat socialist? And I go, yeah, that's what he said. He's Zoran Mamdani, who's a Muslim. He says he's a Democratic socialist. And he said that and he ran for office, and he won, folks. That's the crazy thing about it. He won the race. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. What is this? And many of you have heard about this throughout the last, couple of months, as they're trying to decide who this guy is, what he is, what is he vowed to do, what is his, what are some of the things he's been talking about on over the last number of years. So Zoran Mamdani, once again, is he was born in Ghana. I believe he was born in Ghana, so he wasn't born in the United States. He came here just a few years ago with his parents. His parents are Indian descent. Mom is a producer of TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff. And he is, and the dad is a tenured professor who has some just crazy views. So, but Mamdani himself, Zoram himself, basically came in as a rap star. I wouldn't say I'm a rap star. He really never did anything of any consequence, but he likes to rap. And then he became, I don't know how this happened, but he became an assemblyman in New York. All of a sudden, he got in as an assemblyman. This is like a 30-year-old kid. He's been an assemblyman. Then he decides, I'm going to set my sights on the New York mayorship. But people started doing some background on him, started looking at what he had done, who he is, that kind of stuff. And here's the interesting thing about it. This guy is like a loon. He's talking about things like basically taking, the means of production. And I'm thinking, wow, why is everybody jumping up and down with this means of production thing? Well, and he's talking about that he's going to freeze rents, and he's going to give free stuff here. And come to find out that he is a part of the Democrat Socialist Party of America. And if you look on their website and you find out what they are a socialist group that is using the democratic process to get what they want. And so we figured, most people in New York would go, nope, not going to vote for this guy. This is the most important job in America, save the president, or being a senator, or actually, a state senator, not a state senator, but a, senator in Washington, D.C. There's no way we're going to let him in. But they did, and they voted him in. It was a much higher number than it ended up, but he ended up as a senator. So I'm doing some background on this stuff, and I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can, folks. I did some background on this to find out what socialism is, because I am probably like a lot of people, and I mean, I know the Bible, and I know psychology, and I know a lot of things, but socialism and some of the dynamics about this I know about them. I just don't know about them. So I started asking around, and because I heard President Trump talking about that he's a communist, and then other people saying no, he's a socialist, and then somebody saying no, he's a democratic socialist. So I went to one of the best sources you can look for answers like this. I went to ChatGPT, and I said, well, can you tell me what a socialist is? And so I'm going to go back to some of my notes here, because I wrote a lot of notes. I'm going to see if I'm going to go back here really quick. But a socialist is basically a means of the government owning everything. Okay, so the government says basically we're going to own everything, and let's see, there we go. All right, so I'm going to go back to my notes, okay, because I want to read this, and because we're going to do a Bible study on this, and so here was my question to ChatGPT, and I asked it quite a few questions. I said, okay, what is socialism? And socialism is an economic and political system where the means of production, okay, factories, farms, energy, healthcare, etc., are owned or heavily controlled by the government or the community as a whole, rather than by private individuals. Huh. Okay. I got problems with that already. So the government owns everything, which is pretty... Okay, so we'll go there. Okay. The idea is to reduce inequality by redistributing wealth and ensuring that everyone has access to basic needs such as healthcare, education, and housing. Wow. So what you're doing is you're basically saying, so they heavily, when Mamdani talks about it, he goes, we're going to make sure that everybody has everything else. But what that does is you're taking from the people who work for things, and you're giving them to people who did not work for them. Okay? Does that ring a bell? Well, yeah, it should, because that's what happened for the first year of the Pilgrims coming here to America. And what did that produce? It was terrible. As a matter of fact, it almost destroyed the idea of making America. Because guess what? You want my wife to go and clean for you, and you want my wife or my kids to do this for you while you sit at house doing this, okay? And the people said, no, we don't like that. And as a matter of fact, they had to change it within a year, this whole system. And if you can go back and check out some of our old tapes, you can find out what we're exactly talking about here, of how the Pilgrims came across and the business owners said, hey, this is how you're going to run your government. The government, the original way they wanted to run the country was socialist. And they found out very quickly that did not work. So this is what Mamdani is saying that he's going to bring into America. Let me continue. This is what ChatGPT wrote. I did not make this up, okay? This is, you can go to any one of these, AI, smarty platforms, and you'll find the exact same thing. And all you have to do is ask, what is socialism? Okay? This is the second thing it says. In practice, socialism emphasizes collective ownership and central planning, meaning decisions about production, wages, and prices are made by the state, not by the free market. So, I can't believe this. It says basically, I'm going to tell you what this wage should be. I'm going to tell you how much you can make. I'm going to tell you, the government tells you, this is how much you're going to be able to make. It eliminates free market, which is the basis of America. We run in a capitalistic society. I'm going to talk, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's what this is going, what the direction is going. And it says some forms of socialism are democratic socialism. Okay, that's what we talk about. This is what Zohar Mamdani is. Some forms of socialism are democratic socialism, where a democratic political system, like elections, like what we do, coexists with strong government control over the economy, as seen in places like Sweden, Denmark, though those are technically capitalistic welfare states, not pure socialist societies. Okay, so that was the first volley of what I asked ChatGPT about socialism. Sounds to me like right now they're bumping heads with what we do right now. We'll take a real quick break, folks. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about what socialism is and how it is probably going to be the worst thing ever to happen to America, you guys. I'll be back in just a second. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. This is a special edition, folks, and this is all about socialism. What is socialism? And I'm reading in the first section. We were talking a little bit about my conversation with ChatGPT. I got to be very honest with you. It was very interesting because I asked it because one question led into the next, and I really wanted to know. And so I hope that you're watching us, and I hope you're getting some of this. This is a result of what is happening in America. In America right now, we just elected, no, not saying we, but the people of New York, just elected their first Muslim socialist mayor to run the nation's most powerful city. And this is happening around America, where you've got it happening in Minneapolis, and you've got the same thing happening in Seattle. Same things are trying to take place in other parts of America, and they're trying to create a socialist society. And is that going to work with America? Okay, so I asked ChatGPT about socialism. What is socialism? And so I just, in the first part, if you got here a little late, that's what the first part of this conversation was about. You can go back and check it out. But the second question I asked ChatGPT was, well, is socialism compatible with our form of government? Is socialism compatible with, capitalism? Is it, our constitutional republic? Is it? And this is what the answer from ChatGPT was. And it didn't take long for it to say. It says, in short, no, not fundamentally. Socialism is not compatible with our form of government. Okay? Yes, they are philosophically at odds on several key points. Okay, this is from ChatGPT. It didn't go around, didn't hem and haw, because ChatGPT can tend to be fairly liberal. But it said, and it knows who I am, and it says no, socialism, capitalism do not mix. Okay, and it gave me some answers, and it says here's some principles. Okay. And it gave me a list of it stuff, and it says basically, socialism says, and it views property. It says, in socialism, the property is owned or controlled by the state. In American constitutional republic, which is ours, okay, which has a lot of capitalist, our financial system is capitalism. It says private ownership of a land is protected by law. Okay. So they're hitting each other already. Socialism, you can't own property. Here, we protect your right to own property. Number two, it says your view on your rights, okay? It's granted by the state under socialism, okay? Which means, guess what? If the state says you can't do this, you can't do that, it's because the state has given you your right to exist under American constitutional. And once again, if you look at our founding documents and why and who and why they were formed, it was because of God who gave you those unalienable rights. Under the American constitutional republic, it is endowed. You are endowed by your Creator. It's called unalienable rights. You are granted your rights because of God, not because of the state. Socialism says we're God. You don't under your former. These two are hitting each other in the head. And this is what Zoran Mamdani and others who are practicing this democratic socialism, or whatever they want to call it, is trying to bring to America. No, there's 6 points. Next one. The economic control under socialism is centralized. It's a government plans production and distribution. The government does it. It's centralized under the government. Under American capitalism, constitutional republic, it is decentralized. Okay? It's not the government who does this. As a matter of fact, they wanted limited government. Our founding fathers said, we don't want to have a king. We don't want anybody planning. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. It's decentralized. Individuals and markets decide what's going to happen. Okay? We have controls, okay, to help keep things running in the right direction, but the market is what decides what things cost and how things are distributed. Equality. This is a big one under Zoran Mamdani and socialists. They talk about this, and they said, oh, we want to make sure you're equal, okay? Under socialism, they focus on equal outcomes. They focus on equal outcomes, okay? So they make sure that everybody is the same, Okay? We all wear blue suits. We all wear gray suits. We all want to make sure we all come out the same. Okay? Under American Constitutional Republic, the focus on is equality of opportunity. Okay? We want to give everybody the same opportunity to do whatever they want to do. Okay? If you want to become the most richest guy in the world, we want to level the field so that you can actually do that, and you give the opportunity for you to get access to all this stuff. That's capitalism. The last one, freedom. Under socialism, there's limited by collective goals. What does that mean? Well, what that means is, guess what? If Henry over there says that we don't want you to open up a liquor store, or want you to open up a restaurant because we don't like a liquor store, they say no, you can't do it. Huh? Why can't I do it? Why can't I open up a store if I think it's going to do good, or what if? And if I want to have a daycare here, okay. Under American capitalism, American Constitutional Republic, it's maximized by individual liberty. Okay, which means, guess what, guys? I have the right to do this, and guess what? I may not agree with somebody's their feelings on opening this business or that business, but guess what? That's the way our system works, and he better fight for my ability to do the same thing. Okay, I cannot tell somebody you cannot have this because I think you shouldn't have to do this. I have to defend that. We have freedom because he has an inalienable right to do that. That's America. In essence, folks, socialism seeks security through control. They want to control everything you've got. While America, the American model, seeks prosperity through freedom. Prosperity through freedom, guys. That's what it's all about. So are socialism and American ideals compatible? Absolutely not. This is a crazy, folks. We're going to, on our next section, we've got just a couple more sections to talk here about, but folks, I think you're getting this, is that right now we've got a system of government that is not perfect, but guess what? It's pretty darn perfect, guys. And we need to fight tooth and nail to keep it, but we've got people who want to come into this country and they want to destroy what we've got here, folks. And that's the crazy part about it. We'll be back with the next section, folks. We're going to talk about why socialism is just probably not the thing we want to have here in America, folks. This is Pastor Sherman Ray. We'll be back in just a minute with more of In God We Still Trust. We'll be back in just a second. All right, folks. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We're talking about what socialism is. I know, I'm like tongue-tied because I cannot believe that what happened in New York City actually happened, where they elected a socialist, democratic socialist, to run the most powerful city in America. Let's go through a section. I missed it because I was so excited about it. I asked a question about what is the American system of government and what is our system versus socialism. And I want to read through this very quick. And I had a conversation with ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT, hey Chat, and I asked it a series of questions saying, hey, look, this socialism thing is coming in, and one question led to another, and I was connecting the dots here. And this is the way I was asking. I was saying, hey, the American system of government, it's a constitutional republic with a capitalistic economy. The United States is not a pure democracy, okay, and certainly not a socialist nation. Okay, we're not that at all. We are a constitutional republic. So so many people don't know what that means. It says it's built on the principles of limited government, individual liberty, private property, and free enterprise. Okay, I want you to get this again. We have a limited government. We have individual liberty, private property, and free enterprise. Okay, that is not socialism. We just said that in the last segment. Is that socialism misses that someplace. Socialism is a whole different thing, and we're going to talk about that in a second too. Okay, our economic model is capitalism. Okay, capitalism, where individuals and private businesses make most of the economic decisions. Okay, our form of government is where individuals and businesses, okay, make most of the decisions, economic decision. We own property and compete in an open market. Okay, that's the way that's the way it works, man. I mean, it works in America. If you've got that opportunity, that's the way you want to be. You don't want to live where people say you can go into work at this and you make this amount. No, that's the government telling you what you can and you can't do. The government's role is meant to be regulatory, not controlling, which means, guess what? If they see that this company right here is making widgets or making something that is going to hurt somebody, then they come in and they say, hey, guys, you need to straighten this up a little bit. But they don't stop the market from, doing their business, okay? If they see some danger there that's happening, that's hurting people, and over the years it's happened, they come in and they regulate it, okay? But they're trying to draw back some of those regulations too, because some of those regulations have made businesses so they can't even do business. They ensure fair play, enforcing contracts, protecting individual rights. Okay, that's what it's all about. The Founding Fathers designed a system rooted in freedom and personal responsibility. That's what our founders, okay, many of you see, I've got a Bible behind me that's talking about the Founders Bible, and it talks about how the Founding Fathers built a system on individual freedom. That's what it's all about. You're individually responsible for yourself. You're individually, you have the freedoms to go out and do the things that make this country great, but it's up to you to do those things. Okay? They believe that prosperity and virtue grow when people are free to use their God-given, I'm going to say that again, they're free to use their God-given talents, not when government redistributes the fruits of their labor. Okay, and I want to go back to what we said earlier in this, as we first started this, is that when the Pilgrims came over in their first year, the business people who backed their venture to come here, they said, guess what, you guys can do whatever you want to do as long as everything is a communal thing. Okay, which means that we're going to give you one big plot of land and you guys all farm it and you guys do all your work and you distribute everything among the people who are part of that farm, that community. Well, it didn't work, because guess what? People, even though they were Christians and even though these people were God-fearing people, they saw this is not fair, because Henry's not doing work, Thaddeus is not doing work, I'm doing all the work, and my kids are doing all the work, and this guy's sitting around doing nothing. Okay? It doesn't work. And so when the Founding Fathers, or so the next year, they said, no, we're going to do something different here, guys. We are going to create individual plots of land, and you can work on your stuff, you can work on your stuff, and you can bring them to a store and sell them. Okay, you can come, everybody can come and do their own thing, but you cannot anymore do the socialist thing, because it doesn't work. Okay, so it's already been tried. There's confusion today, guys. Okay, there's confusion today. I went on and asked ChatGPT, why are people so confused about this? Why would Americans, knowing that what they know, or maybe they just don't know, knowing that socialism does not work, they've got it in Venezuela, they've got it in Cuba, got it in other countries, and it does not work. Why would you allow that to happen in the greatest social experiment there is, America? Well, many modern-day political movements use the word socialism, and this is ChatGPT saying this. They use the word socialism to describe policies like healthcare for all. Heard it last night, Zoran Mamdani. Free college, expanded welfare programs. Okay, while these ideas sound compassionate, I want you to hear this, and some elements of social safety nets are compatible with American values, the danger lies in expanding government's power to the point where individual freedom and economic opportunity shrink. The government gets bigger, your ability to do what you want to do gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Because guess what? The government says you can't do it anymore. As history has shown, from the Soviet Union to Venezuela, socialism often begins with promises of fairness, but it ends with shortages, loss of freedom, and government overreach. And in New York, you just voted for it. And I'm hoping that you have enough pushback in New York to say, we're done. We cannot do this. We cannot allow this to last in our land. I'm gonna give one more. We're gonna do one more really quick break, folks, and we're gonna wrap this thing. We're gonna wrap a bow around this thing, okay? Because there's so much about this. I mean, there's just so much about this. Because it is this, and we'll do part number 2 this afternoon, and we'll get this out to you. Okay. This is Pastor Sherman Ray. This is In God We Still Trust. We'll be back in just a second, folks. All right, folks, we are back. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We might go a little long today, folks, because there's so much to talk about. We're talking about what socialism is and why this is just, it just doesn't work for America. It just doesn't work. There's just no way. I just can't imagine. The last part of my conversation with ChatGPT was about, and it wrote a big section on the differences between American capitalism and socialism. We haven't even gotten into the religious part of this, folks. We just have not gotten into this, but this is, and we'll go into this a little later. Maybe we'll be able to get into it. Probably not today, but probably tomorrow, because I've got church this evening. But let's wrap a bow on this thing, folks, about the difference between what socialism is and why it is so heinous in America. My conversation with ChatGPT ended with the perspective that ChatGPT gave about socialism versus capitalism. It says, America's system, though it's imperfect, has produced more innovation, wealth, and opportunity than any other in human history. I want that to sink in, folks. America's not perfect, okay? And I know a lot of people go, oh, it's got this, and it's got that, and oh, this people and that people, and this inequality, that inequality, okay? But even though it's not perfect, and no system is perfect, it has produced more innovation, wealth, and opportunity than any other system in human history. The balance of free markets, personal responsibility, and moral virtue, rooted in faith and family, is what has kept this nation strong. Folks, I want you to understand this, okay? We're founded upon faith in this country. And that is what really is what has helped so many families and has helped this nation endure for as long as it has. And we're on the precipice of letting this go. Ronald Reagan said something very famous, and he said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. You guys, blood, sweat, and tears brought us to this place, okay? And we're just giving it away right now because we've not taught our kids anything about this. We've not taught our kids why they should love America and why they should love our current forms of government. We've allowed socialists in the guise of Zoran Mamdani, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, people like that over the last 10, 15, 20 years to begin to massage into our system, into our psyche, that America is not a virtuous country. And we are. We are a very virtuous country. Not perfect, but guess what? If you're a human being, you are not perfect, folks. But we are surely doing our part to make this happen. Anyways, in our next segment, folks, we're going to talk about our next show, we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of socialism. I hope you were able to tune into it, folks, because it is going to be something that is it's gonna flip you out. Okay. Anyways, this is Pastor Sherman Ray for In God We Still Trust. I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast, folks. We will see you again next time. Okay. You guys be blessed. Talk to you later. Bye bye.